Did you dream about a grid bug?
What now, Skinner?
Never mind, I'm just hungry. I was thinking about making Pequi for breakfast. Have you ever tried it?
Pequi. I've never heard of it.
It's a Brazilian dish made from the fruit of the Pequi tree. It's rich, tangy, and a bit spicy. The perfect way to start the day.
Although dinner isn't quite done yet, Skinner offers Chalmers a drink.
How about some freshly squeezed orange juice? Or perhaps a cup of Brazilian coffee?
Thank you, Skinner. I'd love some orange juice.
As they sit down to eat, Skinner suddenly grins and says,
You know, Chalmers, I had the most peculiar dream last night.
So, what was it about?
It was about a grid bug that somehow managed to infiltrate Memifield High School's computer system. But don't worry, it was just a dream.
I'm glad it was just a dream, Skinner. But if there's ever a real problem, you know I can count on you to handle it.
They continue to eat their Pequi, oblivious to the fact that the grid bug from Skinner's dream is actually lurking in the background, waiting to make its move.
Damn it, Chalmers, my Pequi is burnt to a crisp.
A moment of silence.
I can't believe it. I was so looking forward to this breakfast. Oh well, guess I'll have to come up with a backup plan.
Skinner, deep in thought, suddenly has an idea.
Wait a minute, the Pequi tarte. That's a thing, right? Or maybe a Pequi smoothie, or a Pequi omelet.
Suddenly, the grid bug from Skinner's dream bursts out of the toaster, causing Skinner to jump.
What the? Grid bug, in my kitchen. This is getting ridiculous.
Skinner, now more determined than ever, grabs a rolling pin and chases the grid bug around the kitchen.
I'll show you who's boss, you pesky little bug.
As he's chasing the grid bug.
He accidentally knocks over a pot of Brazilian coffee, which spills and electrifies the floor.
Around the grid.
Surprised by the sudden shock, stumbles and falls into the pot, short-circuiting it and causing a small explosion,
The bug lands in it.
knocking him unconscious.
Damn it, the Pequi is burnt to a crisp. I need a new plan.
Skinner looks out the window. A shop selling Egyptian luffa catches his eye.
That's it. I'll get some of that Egyptian luffa. It'll make a perfect substitute.
Skinner ponders the best way to obtain the Egyptian loofah.
So, I'll have to climb out the window and sneak into that shop. But no one will suspect a thing.
After returning from the shop, Skinner is in a foul mood.
I can't believe I burnt the Pequi. Now we're stuck with this stupid Egyptian luffa. Hey, shouldn't have given up on the Pequi.
Skinner goes on a long tirade about the Pequi and the Egyptian loofah.
I don't know what I'm going to do. The Pequi was going to be a highlight of the breakfast. Now we're stuck with this gross substitute.
As Skinner is speaking, the burnt Pequi, still on the plate, suddenly comes to life and starts talking.
I'm still edible, you know. You burnt the outside, but the inside is still good.
Skinner is taken aback and overwhelmed by the sight of the talking Pequi.
What? What? Is this real? Am I dreaming?
The scene ends with Skinner's confusion and the talking Pequi still on the plate.
There's Chalmers, just in time for breakfast. I'm making a steamed version of Pequi today.
Steamed.
I didn't know that was possible.
It is. And the smoke you see is just steam escaping from the pot.
That doesn't look like steam to me, Skinner. It looks like smoke.
Well, perhaps my stove is acting up today. Don't worry, it's still going to be delicious.
Only you, Skinner, can turn a burnt breakfast into an exotic dish.
As Chalmers is speaking, the talking Pequi from the previous scene bursts out of the pot, causing a startled Chalmers to drop his coffee cup.
Enough with the burnt Pequi talk. I'm still right here, and I'm not burnt at all.
What? Is this real? Am I dreaming?
I think we're in a cartoon, Skinner.
A cartoon, but how?
The scene ends with Skinner, Chalmers, and the talking Pequi looking at each other in disbelief.
Feast your eyes on this, Chalmers. I've prepared a tantalizing Egyptian luffa dish for dinner.
Oh, thank goodness, Skinner. I must admit, I'm not much of a fan of Pequi. This Egyptian luffa, however, is right up my alley.
Ah, well, there was a mix-up at the market and I ended up grabbing the wrong fruit.
A mix-up at the market? Really, Skinner?
Suddenly, the talking Pequi from the previous scene bursts out of the Egyptian loofah, catching both Skinner and Chalmers off guard.
Enough with the Egyptian loofah talk.
I'm still here, and I'm just as delicious as ever.
What? Is this real? Am I dreaming?
I think we're in a cartoon, Skinner.
The scene ends with Skinner, Chalmers, and the talking Pequi looking at each other in disbelief.
Chalmers, just a minor kitchen mishap. It's just a podcast recording.
A podcast recording in the kitchen. And why would there be a podcast recording here in the first place?
Well, it's a new experimental technique. It allows for a more immersive storytelling experience.
Well, I've never heard of that. And besides, there's a fire in the kitchen. That doesn't sound like a podcast recording to me.
As Skinner tries to divert Chalmers' attention, the burnt Pequi from the previous scenes suddenly bursts out of the toaster, causing a smoke bomb to go off, filling the room with smoke.
What on earth?
I think we're in a cartoon, Skinner.
The scene ends with Skinner, Chalmers, and the talking Pequi, surrounded by smoke, looking at each other in disbelief.
Skinner, that Pequi was fantastic. I must say, you outdid yourself today.
Oh, well, thank you, Chalmers. I'm just glad you enjoyed it. By the way, the smoke you see is just a special effect for the podcast recording.
A podcast recording in the kitchen? Really, Skinner?
Yes, indeed. It's a new experimental technique. It allows for a more immersive storytelling experience.
I've never heard of that. And besides, there's still a fire in the kitchen. That doesn't sound like a podcast recording to me.
As Chalmers is speaking, the burnt Pequi from the previous scene suddenly bursts out of the toaster, causing a startled Chalmers to drop his lunch tray.
What? What? I think we're in a cartoon. Skinner.
A cartoon? But how?
The scene ends with Chalmers and Skinner looking at each other in disbelief as the talking Pequi stands on the burnt tray.